So, what if I told you that in 2025 and 2026, some of the cheapest SUVs on the market are also the ones most likely to still be running smoothly 10 or 15 years from now? Now, while many of the expensive, flashy crossovers that people are lining up for today won't even make it past their warranty without any headaches, because, well, right now, the SUV market is totally upside down. Prices are high, interest rates are brutal, and manufacturers are stuffing vehicles with turbochargers, dual clutch transmissions, and fragile electronics that, well, they look great on a spec sheet, but they quietly turn ownership into a financial gamble. And yet, hiding in plain sight are five SUVs that break that particular trend. Vehicles that stay affordable, they stay simple, and they stay reliable long after the honeymoon phase comes to an end. Now, these aren't influencer cars, these aren't status symbols. These are SUVs built for people who don't want surprises, they don't want massive repair bills, and they definitely don't want to be forced back into a dealership 3 years from now. And the last SUV on that list? Well, it quietly embarrasses vehicles that cost $10,000 more. So just before we do take a deep dive, it's imperative, as always, you hit that like button and subscribe so that you get notified the minute we produce another game-changing video that affects your future choice of SUV. And I promise you'll appreciate it. Now buckle up and let's take a deeper plunge. So let's start with an SUV that gets mocked for being boring and praised by mechanics for being nearly unkillable. And that is the Toyota Corolla Cross. And it's one of the least exciting SUVs you can buy in 2025. And that's exactly why it belongs on this list. See, underneath the bodywork, this thing is pure Toyota conservatism. A naturally aspirated four-cylinder engine that's been refined instead of reinvented. There's no wild tuning, there's no fragile power gains, and just proven engineering that's designed to survive neglect, inconsistent maintenance, and long stretches of stop-and-go driving. See, the CVT in the Corolla Cross doesn't chase performance either. It's calibrated for smoothness and longevity, not for sportiness. Now, that matters because CVTs fail most often when manufacturers try to make them feel aggressive. Toyota intentionally avoids that trap here, which significantly lowers long-term risk. Inside, it's basic, but intentionally so. The buttons are physical, the screens are uncomplicated, and materials prioritize wear resistance over visual flair. Fewer gimmicks means fewer electronic failures once the vehicle ages out of warranty. Now, if you add in strong parts availability, the low insurance costs, and the predictable depreciation, well, the Corolla Cross becomes a quiet financial safe haven rather than an emotional purchase. Now, if you think cheap SUVs can't feel solid or well built, well, this next one quietly proves that assumption incorrect. See, the Mazda CX-30 is one of the most overlooked value SUVs on the market, and it's one of the smartest buys if you want reliability without driving something that feels disposable. Mazda has gone against industry trends, so instead of shrinking engines and adding turbos everywhere, they've leaned into naturally aspirated powertrains, conservative tuning, and extremely tight manufacturing tolerances. The CX-30's drivetrain is refreshingly old school in the best possible way. A proven four-cylinder, and it's paired with a traditional automatic transmission. So there's no CVT belt wear, there's no dual clutch complexity. There's just a setup that's already shown strong durability across Mazda's lineup. Now, where this SUV really shines is structural and interior quality. The panels fit tightly, the controls feel weighted, and seats hold their shape over time. Now, I know These are the small things that prevent a vehicle from feeling worn out at 80,000 miles. Maintenance costs remain modest, fuel economy stays competitive, and resale values have steadily improved as buyers realize Mazda quietly fixed what used to hold the brand back. So, halfway through this video, here's something for you to think about. One of the SUVs still coming up costs less than some compact sedans, yet it consistently outlasts vehicles at twice its price, so stick around. Because next is an SUV that has quietly built a reputation for one simple reason: it totally refuses to die. So the Subaru Crosstrek is not fast, it's not flashy, and it doesn't pretend to be something it's not. What it is, however, is honest engineering. The naturally aspirated boxer engine has benefited from years of incremental refinement. By 2026, many early generation complaints have been addressed through improved materials, better cooling, and more consistent assembly, not dramatic redesigns that introduce new risks. The all-wheel drive system is mechanical and predictable. No over-engineered electronics constantly recalculating the torque. That simplicity pays dividends in snow, rain, dirt roads, and long-term ownership. Now, the Crosstrek also benefits from a loyal owner base that maintains vehicles properly, which obviously helps resale values and long-term reliability data look even better. Now, yes, I know it may not win drag races, but it does win longevity contests quietly and repeatedly. Next up, let's talk about an SUV that people underestimate until they actually own one. And I'm talking about the Honda HR-V. Now, it doesn't shout excitement, but it does whisper dependability. Honda leaned heavily into simplification with the latest HR-V. So there's no unnecessary drivetrain experiments, there's no forced induction stress, just a naturally aspirated engine tuned for efficiency, smoothness, and a long service life. Now, the transmission prioritizes consistency rather than aggressive response, which in turn reduces internal wear over time. Now, this is the kind of tuning that doesn't impress on test drives, but it does shine after years of daily use. Interior design is practical and it's well thought out. Materials resist cracking and fading. Controls remain intuitive, and Honda's electrical reliability record here remains one of the best in the entire segment. Now, if you add in excellent resale value, strong safety performance, and predictable ownership costs, and the HR-V becomes a set it and forget it SUV, which is exactly what many buyers actually need. Now, this brings us to the SUV that might be the very smartest financial decision on this entire list. And I'm talking about the Chevrolet Trax. Yes, that Trax. The redesigned Trax represents a rare moment of restraint from a major manufacturer. Now, excuse me, Chevrolet lowered the price, they simplified the platform, and they focused on real-world ownership instead of spec sheet bragging. The powertrain is tuned conservatively, prioritizing reliability and efficiency rather than headline numbers. The transmission is straightforward, and overall vehicle complexity is far lower than many competitors in the same price range. Excuse me. Interior materials are basic, but they're designed to survive abuse, not impress on Instagram. Technology is modern, but it's not excessive, and that reduces long-term failure points. And here's the critical part. Because the purchase price is so low, depreciation hits a lot softer. Insurance costs are lower, repair bills are easier to absorb, and that financial buffer alone makes the Trax one of the least stressful SUVs to own in 2026. It's the SUV that quietly exposes how unnecessary many expensive alternatives really are. And here's the uncomfortable truth. As I say, reliability doesn't come from luxury badges, It doesn't come from massive screens, and it doesn't come from over-engineered drivetrains. It simply comes from restraint. So if you're shopping in 2026 and you want an SUV that's affordable, dependable, and unlikely to punish you after the warranty expires, well, these 5 deserve serious consideration. So now I want to hear from you guys. Which of these SUVs would you actually buy? And which one do you think will age the best over the next decade? Drop it in the comments below. And of course, if this video helped you avoid a bad financial decision, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who's SUV shopping right now, because the smartest vehicles are rarely the loudest ones. So once again, thank you for watching, my fellow SUV lovers, and I'll see you guys on the next one.